Resident Evil 4 has some amazing replayability. From the multiple, vastly different difficulty modes to its alternating campaign separate ways in Assignment Ada, and even the bonus mode, Mercenaries. There is a seemingly never-ending amount of ways to play the game, and nearly 18 years later, we're inventing even more ways to play this absolute beast. The Mercenaries mode has 5 playable characters, all with their own unique loadouts and movesets. Normally, these characters are locked to the Mercenaries game mode where you compete for high scores against hordes of villagers, cultists, and much more. But what if you can play the normal campaign as these additional characters? As it turns out, you actually can with the help of a few mods and a bit of know-how. Of course, with the ability to play the main campaign, that opens up the possibility to speedrun the game using these Mercenaries characters. And because it's me, the Master of Speed, I'm here to do just that. How will the specifics of each of these Mercenaries characters affect the way the game is speedrun? And just how fast can you go when playing as the best of the best? The mod is amazing, but it has a few limitations. So here are the rules. I am to beat the game on a new game from start to finish using the load remover timer. I'm able to do any glitches and anything I can to beat the game as fast as possible. When playing as the Mercenaries characters, if I try to equip or fire any weapons they aren't normally supposed to use, the game will crash. I will start with a custom inventory that has all of their weapons and loadouts from the Mercenaries, including their upgraded weapons. I can use the Merchant to the extent that it'll even work. And for Wesker and Krauser, I can use their special melee attacks whenever I want on the press of a button. This time, we're going to be playing as Wesker, the complete global unit himself. Wesker is an esteemed virologist with a love for world domination. He has superhuman abilities, can fist people through walls, and can blow their head off with the flick of his foot. His loadout consists of a fully maxed out handgun with extra crit hit exclusive, and with the added silencer on top, increasing the crit rate even more. A nearly fully upgraded semi-automatic rifle that is his main bread and butter in Mercenaries, and a nearly fully upgraded Killer 7 Magnum. His case is full to the brim. Hard to believe this Magnum can even fit in those pants. In this video, we will be exploring an alternate universe, one in which the president sends his most competent secret agent of all time to save his daughter instead of Leon. With these superpowers, you would think that Wesker would have a pretty simple and easy run, but there are a few downsides. For one, Wesker doesn't have a knife, and he also can't equip anything he wouldn't normally in Mercenaries, so that means no rocket launchers and no striker, so no dipman glitch. However, he does actually have the ability to use his thrust punch at any point without even having the QTE prompt come up. This has one vital limitation though. It only works if you have enemies in the room that you can normally do the punch on. So this won't work during most boss fights. With this knowledge, I attempted a few speedruns, and I would quickly learn that it would be a vastly different speedrun than the normal speedrun. The first villager stood no chance. Wesker was in fact actually too strong for some of my initial strategies. The first village holdout ends when 14 enemies die, but if you kill 2 enemies, the next wave will spawn. I was collateralizing the first 2 villagers with the sniper accidentally, spawning the extra wave early. This made my grenades not kill as many people as they were originally supposed to, and so I wasn't able to finish it the way I would with Leon. I had to clean up the rest of the fight with a punch. In fact, a punch seemed like it would be the biggest game changer in this run. The rest of the run up to Delago was exactly the same as normal, Leon's speedrun, except for it was way safer. If I ever got in trouble, I could just yeet the enemies out of existence. When at Delago, I have a lapse in skill and get eaten and have to try again. The sense is all fucked. What? I'm a bit rusty, you could say. After that, we arrive at El Gigante, where I am playing no merchant strategy, so I could save some ammo. I throw 2 grenades at his feet that stun him and release the Plaga. Then I run next to him and bounce the 3rd grenade off the wall, landing it in the air right next to his Plaga. This instantly kills him and ends the fight really quickly. I could have just used the Magnum and just blasted him away with the Wesker's upgraded Killer 7, but this didn't seem like it was the right move. I wanted to save that ammo for later. Normally, Wesker would have nothing to do with Ashley. She's an annoyance and in the way. But today is an alternate reality speedrun, one where Wesker puts aside his ego for the greater good and saves the world. Still not gonna take the shades off though. He wears them inside, outside, at night, mid-fight, doesn't matter. The glasses stay on during sex. Anyways, Ashley works as normal, but because there isn't a built-in function to call her to follow or stay with Wesker, the mod allows this to be bound to a button, but it doesn't play a sound when done this way. Once we arrive at cabin, Lewis and Wesker team up and absolutely obliterate it. The combination of unlimited instant kill punches and the super high crit rate of the pistol makes cabin a breeze. It's nearly half as long as the normal Leon cabin. I think that the silencer buff is also applied to the character and not the gun. So consequentially, that buff is also applied to Lewis, making his red 9 crit like mad. These two plot-powered chads fighting side by side in the cabin makes it fly by. Then I run to Mendez, and this is where things are going to change a bit. Instead of using the fire grenades, it's just a lot faster to skip the fire grenade pickups and then use the barrel and a few magnum shots to kill him that way. I would love to try and punch these guys to death, but none of these boss rooms so far have normal enemies in them, so the punch never works. This is when Wesker makes it to the castle in only 26 minutes. We're already here on my very first attempt. Already having the auto sniper, we blast our way through these early stages of castle, making it to Garrador quickly. He quickly gets put on his ass, and then we finish him with the sniper rifle. Finally, we arrive at the water hall. By far the hardest room in the game. How would Wesker's insane firepower deal with this room full of nearly endless enemies? Well, it turns out his strength is more of a liability than an actual strength here. If you kill too many people, then more will spawn. And this second wave has a ton of shield guys. It also has an unskippable cutscene that loses about 8 seconds. Wesker actually does so much damage that all of his crowd control options instantly kill everything, making it basically impossible to skip these extra enemies. Ashley is invincible to the melee attacks, fortunately, unless you do them manually without the QTE prompt. Then she can get friendly fired by it, and it's an instant kill. The second phase is easy peasy, as you can use the sniper rifle to blast those who dare threaten my queen Ashley. After a quick breezy walk past Novi's, we head into the gallery and blow this red zealot's mind. This is when I would start to run out of inventory space. The auto rifle takes up a ton of slots. I tried, but apparently you cannot upgrade the attach case when playing as Wesker, so I'm just shit on the luck here. After saving Ashley, something really interesting happens. Instead of playing as Ashley for this section, Wesker actually takes her place. If you want something done correctly, then you better do it yourself, I guess. The downside to that is when you switch places with Ashley, you now have her HP, and her health is less than normal walking speed for Wesker. So you have to upgrade your maximum HP twice to be able to run again. This would be fine, just limp the Ashley section, except for that this HP switch actually persists when you switch back to playing as Wesker proper, leaving you with low HP for the rest of the run. I think this is because of a setting I had on the mod. Force writing the character the entire run instead of turning it off once I was already set to Wesker. But honestly, it adds an interesting dynamic to the speedrun. Having to collect a few yellow herbs before Ashley's section and then using them to regain HP, slowly building it up for the rest of the run, makes the run much more interesting and helps to balance out Wesker's insanely OP setup. There's also some compatibility mods in place to help with actually beating the game with these alternate characters. The crank section at the end of Ashley's part can't be done without crashing as the mercenaries characters, so it's just removed. You still need to grab the piece for the Chimera wall though. The Kings and Queen Grail room were a breeze with Wesker's upgraded sniper, but the Novicidor room was total cancer like normal. The fuck away. Oh, I'm dead. I know these are so asses, Wesker. You can't punch the Novicidors, but you can punch the Garradors, and that is the most fun room in the whole game. Hi-ya! The second one needs to be finished off, but the first one dies of a heart attack after seeing so much awesomeness in one place. Unfortunately, Wesker has one fatal flaw in this route for the speedrun, and that is Verdugo. Verdugo has approximately 6 metric fuck tons of health. And after doing a few calculations, my chat told me that I would need approximately 110 magnum bullets to kill him. So needless to say, without a rocket here, there is no way I'm gonna kill this guy. Thus, we must return to our favorite strategy, walking around a table and kicking a door like my dear old pal Dante. Excuse me, sir. After this, Wesker heads into the boulder room and he skips it pretty cleanly with the OG boulder skip, then the double gigante room. And because he can't use the Dipman glitch, there is no skipping it. I dunk the first one, then unload the magnum into the other. By shooting 5 shots into his face, you can show the Plaga. Then, if you shoot the Plaga before his animation ends, you can get free damage on it before doing the knife. If done correctly, this should kill the giant with the efficiency and elegance that only Wesker could, and in one cycle. Finally, we arrive at the single worst part of the whole game, Novi's 3. Wesker has this section much worse than Leon. Not only can he not Dipman to run past them, but he also does not have access to a shotgun, so killing the Novi's is a lot harder. I luck out on my first attempt and get through clean. but this would only embolden my hubris so the game could completely destroy my mental health later on. That's a really good Novisadors though. Once past this hell, I head into the minecart skip, into the old version, and it works like a charm. I make my way through the Salazar hands and into the lift, where I have a Rage in the Cage special match with the entire cult. I promptly yeet them off the lift and through the walls with the sheer force of my hand. Once at the Salazar boss fight, I use the pistol to quickly shoot the weak point and then unload into it with the Magnum. He dies in one sweet, concise cycle. Yeah, RE4 all achievements is super easy. It's just shooting gallery plus... Wow, okay, that was easy. Speaking of easy. Then we do island skip and go through the early stages of island. This is where something a little weird is gonna happen. We need to actually grab the thermal scope in a speed run. Oh, okay, I need to remember thing that I never do in a normal speed run that I need to do here. I gotta get the thermal scope. There was no speed run, even way back in the day, that would normally grab this thermal scope. But Wesker doesn't have a knife, and there's no easy way for me to kill the Iron Maiden that has the key to progress. I didn't think I would have enough Magnum ammo to do so I opted to play it safe and use the intended strat. Once I get Ashley back, I go back to the truck and promptly punch people off of it for about 2 minutes straight. Then I go to the U3 fight and dump a ton of fire grenades on him and finish him off with some Magnum rounds. This is when things would get a little bit toxic. As Wesker having no knife, the Krauser fight is an absolute pain in the cock. He naded himself. What a bot. Bot Krauser. The first 2 phases can be dealt with quickly, just by blasting him in the face twice with the Magnum. The last phase, however, my therapist said talking about it would help, so I'm here, talking about it. Instead of trapping him in the corner and comboing to death, I have to play defensively. I use the sniper to shoot him in the body, and then when staggered, I shoot him in the face for ×2 damage multiplier. Unfortunately, even such an upgraded sniper, it takes nearly 30 consecutive shots to kill him, but surviving that long is very difficult. I have less than minimum HP because of the Ashley section. The QTEs aren't that bad, but your only opportunity to shoot him is right before they play. And if you shoot too late and the QTE appears on your screen before you can shoot, the game actually takes away your ability to shoot, forcing you to do the QTE. Even though if you were able to shoot, it would interrupt the attack, making you not get hit anyways. Some of the QTEs are actually so good that if you dodge them too early, you just get hit anyways, even though you backflip through the attack. Man, I love this fight without a knife. What a good game. I die here approximately 7,000 times. In the process of dying, I accidentally bang my desk in frustration, loosening my audio cables and crashing my audio drivers, and subsequently my game. So dumb. Punch him. I can't. Only punch in rooms where you can punch. So not one of those rooms. Dude, he just... But finally, over 20 minutes later, I beat him. Go fuck yourself, dude. Now I just have to do 5-4 and Sadler, then I'm done. 5-4 is complete ass, as always, but I discovered a cool little trick. Apparently, Wesker's punch has an insane amount of invincibility frames. I then spammed this a shit ton to wait out the machine guns when possible. Even still, this section was a nightmare as always. Very skill-based section of the run, of course. Once through those ass rooms, we head to the final boss. And one might think that, like the others, this boss would be simple. But it's really not. I first arrived at the boss at 2 hours and 11 minutes. The strategy was simple. Use my Magnum rounds on his eye to get maximum damage out of my ammo, and then stun him repeatedly with the barrels and cranes till he's dead. There was a problem though. I ran entirely out of things to stun him with, and he still wasn't dead. I didn't even get the special rocket yet. On my last 3 bullets with the sniper, I finally unlocked the special rocket after a 4-minute fight. But I can't use it because I can't fire the rocket or my game will crash. So I have to finish him off without it. Now limping and with no heals in the arena, I have to somehow kill the boss with no way to stun him. There are actually 2 eyes on the back limbs of the boss that I didn't know about. These eyes can also be broken and cause him to stun. But in order to do that, you have to bait an attack from the front, then run around him. Something that is near impossible with low HP movement speed. After many minutes of trying, I gave up and died like 8 minutes of boss fight later. This sucks. I was mashing. Okay, whatever, dude. Then I died 3 more times, losing a few minutes each attempt, until I was finally able to break all of the leg eyes. Once this happens, his main eye stays open all the time, allowing for unlimited stun locks. The boss fight being done this way makes it about 1,000 times easier. Mainly because if you lose your heals before you're able to get to the back eyes, you will never reach them. Or at least I could. On top of that, he has completely random attacks that can be baited, and only 2 of them last long enough to get around and break the eyes. When the eyes are open is also random, so even if you get a good attack, the baited eyes may not be there to shoot. It was brutally hard to fight, and it takes forever. I would definitely need to practice this. That being said, once I finally beat the boss, I ran to the jet ski and did something fun. So Wesker works perfectly fine for the whole game with no soft locks or crashes, except for the jet ski. He can't ride the jet ski or the game will instantly crash. So I switched characters to Ashley to avoid this crash during the reload checkpoint so I could finish the game. Double Ashley to the rescue. I finished my first attempt in 2 hours and 30 minutes. Pretty bad, and it was a lot of fun, so I definitely wanted to improve it. The dynamic of playing as Wesker completely changed the way I approached the game, and it had a lot of unique routing decisions that were made while also being easier than the original in some parts and much harder in others. I wanted to see what the run would really look like if I optimized it a lot more, so that's what I decided to do. In lieu of playing the other characters, I decided to do just a few more runs with Wesker. The next run would be pretty solid. The whole run in general was a lot cleaner than the previous one, well, except for accidentally killing Ashley in Waterhall losing a minute. I beat Krauser first try, even if the fight was really sloppy. Let's go, Poggers! First try. But I died after spending about 9 minutes fighting Sadler. Oh my god. Then I died again. That hits me? Like, come on, dude. No, it did not. But I was able to shave off 22 minutes from my last run. This wasn't nearly enough though. I knew Wesker could be easily under 2 hours, so I said I would do it one more run with Wesker. This is something I would say a lot in the next few days. The next run would be just as clean as the first, but I would also not die in Waterhall, and before Krauser, I was 2 minutes ahead. Definitely on sub 2 hour pace. Until I got absolutely blasted by Krauser 3 times and lost my lead and mine in 5-4. That's so ass. I hate Krauser so much. It's basically just RNG. Like if he gives you a bad attack, you're just fucked. Like that. Oh, that was terrible. Definitely need at least one more Wesker run before I'm done with Wesker. 5-4 was especially brutal to me this time around, and I died a few times and had to limp through the final room. Oh, you know what else is filler? 5-4. None of that would matter though if I just had a clean Sadler fight. And it was looking so promising until the game crashed near the end of the first phase. Nearly 4 minutes lost. Dude, are you actually kidding? The next attempt at the boss would go fine, and I would finish the game in 2 hours and 2 minutes. Another big improvement, but it would seem that I would need at least one more Wesker run. Once again, I set my foot on my last Wesker run, and things were going good until I got to the Novi's room, where I got cyberbullied. They took screenshots of my apes and posted them all over Twitter. I'm fucking dead. Yeah. Oh my god, dude, it's right there. Just let me go! This run wasn't going nearly as good as the prior two. I died quite a few times in Novi's 3, and I wanted to reset. It didn't matter if I could get a decent Krauser and Sadler. I have a first try Krauser, but it was really bad. Fuck you. And after yeeting JJ into outer space like Team Rocket, I finished 5-4 with 1 minute and 49 seconds behind my pre-B. Fuck you, JJ, you punk ass bitch. I could still get a sub 2 if I just had a decent Sadler fight though. Even if I did get sub 2 though, this run was already awful. I think we're gonna have to do another Wesker run, boys. But surely this would be the last one, right? Spoilers, the Sadler fight goes well and I save nearly 10 minutes, bringing this run to a 158. A terrible, terrible 158. All right, one more, then I have another run almost exactly like that one and I get a 157. Okay, one more Wesker run. I swear this is the last one. I get a 156. Okay, this is the last Wesker run, I swear. This is what I would have to call it a night before the next stream. I was talking to my friend and avid RE4 speedrunner Lewis about this Wesker run, and he helped me route it quite a bit better. We figured out together that you could actually skip the infrared scope with Wesker, you just need to use 10 Magnum shots on the Iron Maiden. This would greatly reduce the amount of clutter in the inventory and save a ton of time. The only problem was, it wasted 10 Magnum rounds that we needed to have for U3. As it turns out though, you can actually use the Merchant to upgrade the Killer 7. I hadn't tested this, but it's true. So right before the U3 fight, you can upgrade the ammo capacity and firepower of the Killer 7, giving us 14 free Magnum rounds and making it more powerful for the rest of the run. This is enough to use the Magnum to kill U3 and Krauser, making both fights a lot faster in the process. He also informed me that breaking Sadler's eyes with more powerful weapons like the Magnum to stun him actually does more damage. So it's best to use the Magnum bullets on those eyes and then shoot his main eye with the sniper and then do the QTE. The QTE does 40 damage, which is 5 more than a Magnum shot. So while it is kind of slow to do the QTE, it does a lot better damage and resource management wise. By using this strategy, I can make the Sadler fight a lot faster and more consistent. This was all stuff that I would implement on my last Wesker run. And what would surely be the last Wesker run, it starts off very strong. I have a great dark barn and cabin and leave village at 22 minutes. The run is super clean. I get out of Novi's 3 with no deaths and save 6 minutes, bringing me to 6 minutes ahead. Finally, something decent. I clean up late game, kill Krauser on my first try, bringing me to 10 minutes ahead. Oh baby. Oh baby. I tried to do the new strats on Sadler and it works, but not as good as I was hoping. I had assumed that this increase in damage would make the fight free and I wouldn't have to mess with the back eye legs. I, however, was very, very wrong. This led to the fight being super duper dragged out and about 7 minutes long. I lost about 3 minutes here compared to my PB. I finished with a sub 150, and that was GG. I had done my actual last Wesker run. The only thing that would actually be a significant time save is the final boss, and I did not care to go back and do it again. It was time to finally move on to Krauser runs. Or so I thought. In my Krauser exploits, I was attempting to do a skip called Boulder Skip. This skip is normally really easy with Wesker and Leon, but with Krauser, it was just so damn hard. Out of frustration, I was testing his sword arm button mid-attempt during the jump down animation. When you do this, Krauser proceeds to stop his flipping animation mid-air, pull out his knife sword, and then fly through the air, now putting me in the middle of the air out of bounds. At this moment, I had instantly realized what I had just done. Well, I could cheat like that. Oh boy. I hadn't tried that yet. I had just broken the shit out of this poor game. Wesker and Krauser can use these QTEs on command at any time, and apparently this even applies to their other animations. It has the ultimate priority, even more so than gravity apparently. This completely changes how I'd approach the speedrun, not only for Krauser, but you guessed it, for Wesker as well. I would then spend the next 2 hours finding skips all across the game using this new tech. Most of them work only for Krauser, because Wesker can only punch in rooms that he can normally punch in, where Krauser can use his arm anywhere and at any time. There was also an interesting divergence between these two characters once out of bounds. Wesker would snap inbounds when you get close to the ground again, and couldn't go through walls, where Krauser could literally never snap unless you took damage, picked up an item, or did a QTE. This made for a lot of different skips between both characters, and it seemed like you'd be able to skip a ton of the game. Because it's RE4 though, each room is self-contained, so no matter what you could do or clip or when, you can only skip one room at a time, making these out of bounds not too powerful. That meant that my newly christened last Wesker run was also a farce. This would be my last Wesker run for sure. The first new skip was a little one at the start of 1-2. I punched as I dropped down to land in the air after grabbing the first half of the medallion. I then walk back and bounce closer to the medallion, saving like 9 seconds. The next skip is in Waterfall Room. This had a skip on the 30 FPS old version of the game, but we have a better, newer version now. By punching while jumping across the boxes, you can land mid-air and walk through the wall and skip the whole room, saving about 30 seconds. I discovered that the barrel did nothing in the big cheese fight, so I could just use the Magnum instead, saving another 10 seconds. Waterfall was going good until I accidentally ass blasted Ashley with my fist, instantly killing her and losing about a minute. I As soon as I pressed that button, I knew that was gonna happen. Fuck, that's such a big time loss. The next new skip would be in 3-3 after the cage room. By punching after I jump down, I can land on the air and walk across, skipping the bridge entirely, saving about 30 seconds. There's a new skip right before the minecart skip. As I grab the ladder, I punch, putting me through the wall. And I can skip the key and the door in this room, saving like 5 seconds. Then I can do a faster minecart skip by punching while I climb out of the minecart, skipping the jump down and starting the minecart. This saves about 40 seconds. The biggest and most important skips were yet to come though. In 5-4, I found that you could punch while on the first ladder, then go out of bounds and skip the whole first half of the level, right to the triple turret room. I had a bit of a hard time getting back in bounds on this run though. From there, you could do it again and walk to the door behind the lock gate and just leave the room, skipping most of the worst rooms in the game. This saves roughly 3 minutes and a lot of money spent on therapy. Instead of grabbing the key card, you just punch through the ladder and walk out of bounds to the end of the level. This saves about 2 minutes. At this moment, I just had one thing left to do. Kill Sadler and save about 5 minutes, making this the last Wesker run. I'm sure you can guess what happened. I died instantly. Bro, that's so... I fucking hate this game. Then again, after fighting him for about 4 minutes... No, I don't get it. I don't get it. Once I finally did beat him, that fight took forever. I went from about 4 minutes ahead to about a minute behind. I finished the run 45 seconds behind. Well, I guess we need one more Wesker run, huh? That's fine though, this is the first run with the new skips and I lost a lot of time on a few of them. I could save that time now that I have actually practiced them a little bit. I just need one last Wesker run, then I could finally move on. On my last Wesker run, for real this time, I have a really clean run. I do everything first try, no death, no Vs, and have a great new set of skips. I finally get a clean Sadler, and overall, I finished the run pretty cleanly. And as Ashley rides off into the sunset, saving Ashley from the jet ski, I get a 1:42.09. Finally, the last Wesker run completed. This time, for sure. So in this alternate universe where Wesker is sent to save Ashley, how is the speedrun? Well, in my estimation, there are really two completely different types of speedrun here. The 142 I got using the out of bounds that I did that are exclusive to the mod, and the 149 I got without those tricks. They're both really cool runs and practically the same route, but the skip impacts the run immensely. 5-4 having skips in particular makes the run a lot more fun, honestly. Anytime this section isn't in the run, I'm happy. The pacing is also really surprisingly good. I was afraid that the run would be on average too long to be fun, considering Leon's run is about an hour and a half on average, and that one can feel long at times. So the run being any longer might make it feel like a drag, but not really. Arguably, I think the 142 length is pretty solid, and the increased rate at which you do skips makes it more fun than the normal run. The run without the tricks is a bit too long for my liking though. Wesker's loadout completely obliterates most of the game, but the lack of knife and ability to use a rocket makes some of the sections a lot more troublesome. The instant use of the punch, like at all times, is also a huge benefit to saving any potential mistake you might have, since it has about 1.5 years of invincibility frames. This makes the run a lot more consistent than Leon's as well. If I had to guess, I think it could go quite a few minutes lower, just with better execution and a bit of better routing for ammo. Maybe like a 135 or so. But that will be the job of someone else, as it was my last Wesker speedrun. This time, for sure. Or at least until I get bored and want to do it again. I have a Patreon that's been pretty dead for a while now, but I'm trying to make it worthwhile again. If you don't know, I have 3 YouTube channels. The main channel, Waifu Runs, that has video essays, this channel that does highlights, and the archive channel that has all my speedruns on there. Previously, I only put credit patron names on the main channel, but now they will also be on the highlight channel, starting on the next video. Also, I have a new reward for all tiers. Whenever I do a complicated speedrun or challenge run like an all achievements run or no inventory, or a modded playthrough like this, I will create some sort of tutorial or guide for how to do exactly what I did. Basically just extensive notes and a how-to for setting up the mods and or approaching that run. These will be available on my Patreon shortly after the highlight video is uploaded. If you want to support me, that's the best way to do so. The mods in this video are also publicly available for free. You just have to search RE4 Trainer. But if you want help with a step-by-step tutorial for setting them up, that's going to be on the Patreon. Thanks so much for watching and stay stylish.